I'd like to welcome everybody here for our ICD workshop, which is the Integrated Cadastral Database workshop. Today, what we're going to do is we're doing setup. I'm going to give you a synopsis or a summary of the workshop items, and then we're going to do some installation of the spatial PostGIS. Okay. Then we're going to spend a little bit of time reviewing the sample data set from Doornot that we have received for the pilot project. Mm-hmm. And just for the purpose of demonstration, we'll do a review of open data from BC, Canada, just to give you an example of how geospatial information is shared by government agencies in Canada. So I guess the goal, we're here because we are discussing, the desire from MRPM and Ministry of Environment to share geospatial data. In the process, like in the lead up to this point, at first Environment only wanted to share data with MRPAM. But the reality is that sharing just licensing data and protected area data without a land base is kind of useless. Yeah. So we have added Alagak, the land ministry, and they have been kind enough to participate and share their land-based information with us. So the fourth stakeholder is the local government at the IMAX and SUMS. So what we're trying to do is provide a framework for an integrated cadastral database that can be scaled up to a national level, an NSDI if. So at this time, we're limiting it to the four stakeholder groups, which is MRPAM, Ministry of Environment, Land Ministry Agency, and then the IMAX data, IMAX and SUMS. So how can this be achieved? So our recommendation is to use FOSS4G, free open source software for geospatial database, which is PostGIS and PostGIS. So PostgreSQL is the open source enterprise database. PostGIS is the spatial extension. This is what is PostGIS. So PostGIS is open source, freely available, and OGC as an open geospatial consortium, compliant spatial database, extender for PostgreSQL. Basically, PostGIS is Oracle spatial equivalent. So this is not my comments. This is extracted this from somewhere else online. So it adds spatial functions, basically GIS functions, distance, area, union, geometry. So it's very similar to SQL Server Spatial, S3, ESRI, ArcSDE, Oracle Spatial, and DB2 Spatial. This is really the concept for the integrated cadastral database, okay, in a nutshell. So this could be, for example, I've got here Ministry of Environment, could be MRPAM. So you select the data, geodata, process the geodata, and then you can export the geodata that you have into the database. So in the concept of the model we have, basically, if this is the integrated cadastral database, each stakeholder is the only group that can edit and maintain. So basically, environment will export the geodata onto the server, the PostGIS server. Only environment can export and update that layer, those layers. Environment can import other people, all the data, and work with it offline. Yeah. So if this is MRPAM, you will have access to upload MRPAM data into the MRPAM layers. And only you can edit those layers. Okay, so similarly for land and so. Okay, so that's really the fundamental concept is there will be security established so that the ministry that's responsible for their data layers are the only ones that can upload and modify those layers on the server. But the other partners can import and use everybody's layers. And you can work with those layers, but we need to tomorrow discuss protocols. Yeah? Okay, so that's just basically the concept. Yeah? And so briefly, this is the workflow. What we'll be doing this afternoon is to download, we already have some copies here, install PostGIS SQL and then PostGIS extension, and show you how to run the pgadmin. You can create spatial database, import spatial database, export spatial database. So that's part of the workflow for the PostGIS. Right? And then how would there'll be a copy in your USB stick of the slides. Once you have this sitting in the PostgreSQL and PostGIS, how do you access it? Well, you can use ArcGIS if you have ASRI, or you can use QGIS. So we're training people to use Q, the free open source software. So the IMAX and Zooms will train as well using QGIS. Well, Land uses QGIS already, so they're familiar with that. QGIS and PostGIS, so we also, if you don't have it, you'll download QGIS, install, run QGIS. We will look at the browser with respect to PostGIS, create a connection to the database, username, password. So this is how to use it with a GIS system. We need to discuss data sharing. So tomorrow we'll do the discussion once environment and MRPAM all know the cadastral people here. We will discuss the data that's shared between environment and MRPAM, which is currently transferred using USB sticks. So the objective is if we put it on the integrated cadastre, you don't have to, you can just go online and download the data. So this was the original concept. We have, I think, Ministry of Environment has 5 workstations in the cadastral division. They're not networked, I believe. And also then we have MRPAM, which is running ArcGIS with Oracle Spatial. So I think in the future, the objective is if you have the ICD on a server not accessible by internet, we will be able to exchange data directly. Yeah. So right now we're only working with the existing stakeholders on the left. Both the public, NGO, and other people is in the future. Okay, so initially I think the ICD will only used by the team that will be here, and local government. So only the working partners. So how are we going to develop the system? The system will develop using a sample dataset from Donut IMAC. Tomorrow, this is the discussion tomorrow. So one of the things we need to resolve is what are the geospatial data sets that each stakeholder will share and upload into the integrated cadastre. So once we agreed on the layers, we'll look at each layer, determine which attributes will be shared, which should not be shared, and will be separated in the process. Here's an example of Donut layers. So right now for the Donut, we have 142 layers. The bulk of it is from land. So we have listed, for example, each file layer. We've listed the organization, like environment, MRPAM, the local government Donut, described geometry, fields, projection, and so on. So on an Excel spreadsheet, we'll look at it tomorrow. Some of the technical issues we'll need to discuss tomorrow is you have to agree on a coordinate reference system for the data. So maintenance of the data sets by each stakeholder. And we'll talk about procedures for uploading and updating the data. And then we'll need to talk about security of the database. In other words, username, passwords, who has access to the players. And Linda will explain a little bit more how the intricacies of the PostGIS database will operate. Okay, and then operations and maintenance of the database server. So we'll have to discuss tomorrow, because if we proceed forward, I believe the Canadian government will supply a server for this. So the server has to reside somewhere, one of the ministries. So somebody has ownership of the server who will do the maintenance, operation and maintenance on day-to-day. So those are some of the things we need to sort out tomorrow. And then if there's any other items, if we have time, we can talk.